Columbine High School junior Bree Pasquale was in the library on Tuesday when Eric Harris and Dylan Claybald began their killing rampage. This is how the country first saw Bree right after the shooting stopped.
He came into the cafeteria and you could hear like bombs and shotguns going off. And then he came into the library, shot everybody around me, then put a gun to my head and asked if we all wanted to die, and he's going to kill us if we are of color and if we had a hat and if we were his police force. I just started screaming and crying and telling him not to shoot me. And so he shot the girl, and she shot her in the head in front of me, and he shot the black kid because he was black, and he shot him in the face.
It is now 2.5 days later, and this is Bree this morning. Bree Pasquale, thanks so much for talking with us. Let me ask you, I know that you got the first indication, Bree, that something was about to go horribly wrong when you heard a popping sound outside the library. Is that right?
Yeah.
What kind of sounds did you hear, and how did you feel when you heard them?
Well, we were all sitting down at the table. Kids were coming in, so it was just like regular high school, loud for about 5 minutes after the bell rang, and you could hear like firecrackers, or you could hear like those party poppers, but like over an intercom is real loud. You could see a lot of smoke coming from the windows, and that's when you could hear someone come into the school and start throwing, sounded like pipe bombs.
One of the gunmen approached you. Who approached you, and what did he say?
It was Eric Harris, and it was right after he began shooting at the kids and telling the kids that don't worry about it, it's just a flash wound, for the kids to quit crying. It's going to go away, and that they're going to die within a short minute afterwards, so just not to worry about it. And it was Eric Harris who came up to me and put the gun in my face and started laughing, just like, well, looks like you're next out of the pick. And I started screaming and crying, saying that I had a family, I had a fiance, and I didn't want to die. And he began to tell me, well, why not? Everyone deserves to die. Everyone's going to die eventually in a couple minutes. And so he told me why didn't I want to die. And
then he said he spared you, and you believe it's because he got a bloody nose and was somehow distracted?
Yeah, after he shot the girl that was under the table that he said boo to, that's when him and Dylan started reloading their guns, and Dylan was on the opposite side of the table shooting at the kids to the left. And I was over on the right, that side, and they're reloading, and then I guess one of the shotgun shells ricocheted and hit him in the nose, and that's when he started bleeding, and then he stopped, and he's just like, started laughing. He's like, man, Dylan, he's just like, I hit myself in the face. He's like, isn't that crazy?
They were sort of laughing and carrying on throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, they were acting as if it was like a party, as if it, it was like some cool thing to do, like it was like some video that they had, and about how that it was just some great thing to witness, and after shooting people, they'd look at like how they shot them at close range and what they did and what they saw and how deep it went, and, what damage that they had done to them, and they laughed about it.
They said something particularly callous after they shot Isaiah Scholes. Tell me what they said.
Well, after they approached me, I started screaming, don't shoot me, and they said, fine. They're like, well, then we're just going to kill everyone around you. They're like, that sounds like a great idea because everyone's going to die. And then they walked up like halfway to the middle of the desk, and they said that, oh, look, it's a nigger, and they're like, began to walk up close, and Isaiah was screaming, no. He's like, come on, man, please don't. He's just like, you don't know what you're doing. I want to go home. I want to see my mom. He's just like, please don't. And then they shot him at close range with a shotgun, and they're like, Eric was like, Dylan, man, look at his brains. Isn't that awesome how it just splatters across the desk? He's just like, let's go see if we could do it to somebody else.
Bree, I can't imagine witnessing and hearing these things and being so terrified. How are you doing? I know you've been having flashbacks that people don't want to leave you by yourself. How are you handling this?
I guess it really hasn't hit me yet. I know it's going to get worse, and like I told other reporters, it's no preparing for it. It's going to get worse, and unless I keep talking about it and get help and keep going to church, keep going to counseling, it's not going to go away, but I could get it to a point where I can set it aside. But I know it's going to get a lot worse, and there's still a lot of emotions that I haven't let go of. There's still a lot of anger, a lot of hurt. And
you don't plan to go back to Columbine High School, do you?
No, I'm not going back. We're going to try and move as soon as we can out of the area. It's not the area itself. It's just you can't keep a kid who's witnessed what I saw, or one of the victims who's been shot. You can't keep them in an area like this and expect them to attend a school next week. It's not possible. It's not going to happen. Kids are afraid to be in the classroom.
Bree Pasquale, again, thank you so much for talking with us. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back in a moment. This is Today on NBC.
Every sport utility vehicle sold in